Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. German law enforcement is not the way it used to be anymore. And I think we have to talk about this now. For a very long time already, the police was a target for, I should say hate from the left, from leftist people. Well, I know that I grew up with a lot of very leftist people, some punks, in the 80s and 90s, and they always said, "Oh, we hate the police, we hate the police, they're horrible." And these are these street level elements or thugs or something, but even in the political parties and in the establishment, very left wing people, they have a very negative um, opinion about the German police. It is since their since their youth, it's almost enemy number one. And everybody, these people who like to party, let's say in their youth, they get in trouble with the cops sometimes, and they hate them for the rest of their lives. But now, I would say it changed a lot, because the leftists have gotten so much power in Germany that in the cities and the states where they rule, they really start changing the way that Germany is policed, and they're changing um, officers in key position, and it is very, very liberal-minded, progressive people who have no idea about police work, who might have some liberal arts, social justice degree, and they come right from the university and they are in the correct party, and they're put in charge of of police work, and that is crazy. So the German police, I would say, this is my assessment from reading lots of articles and looking around at what is going on in my country. For many years now, my verdict, or what I would say, how I would characterize the present situation, is that our police force is now being changed to a force that is no longer protecting the citizens, that is no longer enforcing the laws, but that is a, how should I say that, a leftist political unit now. So we see that, for example, in Berlin, when the senator for the interior said that people who demonstrate against our government, opposition, then the police should use a lot of physical force against them. But if leftists just rage again in the cities, destroying property and committing various crimes, then the police should practice de-escalation. So that means just going away and not doing anything. This is all that de-escalation means right now, when it comes to these leftists, because normally you would try to talk them out of what they're doing, but of course we know that with these raging leftists, talking doesn't work. They will just get more angry and more aggressive. So de-escalation just means go away. Don't do your job as police officer. That is what their leaders, their superiors, what they're telling them. Because again, in Germany, the politicians are the boss of the police chief, and the police chief, if he wants to keep his job, has to do what the politicians say. That is how it works. So if you elect a different mayor in your city, and we see that in the United States also, what is going on there, it is already going on in Germany. I reported about that in Stuttgart and in Frankfurt. I told you, this is what happens. And the police were told to stand down. And when conservative people are actually peacefully protesting, then the police is not told to stand down. Then they strike with physical force, with really, I would say, unprovoked violence, I would say. There is nothing that justifies that, I would say. And this is because in these cities, in these states, key positions have been filled with leftist ideologues who are clearly very far on the left of the political spectrum, and the police is changed now. We see that more and more women are being hired because it is public service, right? It is, these people are officers of the state, public servants, and then strict quotas apply. But if you really want to do actual police work on the street, with very rough people that you're up against, you cannot use these 60 kilogram or 130-pound women. You just I mean, you would need 20 of them to arrest one bad guy. They are also not fast, so they cannot run after people. They don't have any upper body strength, so they can't hold anyone down. They can't put they can't put handcuffs on somebody. They would rather probably use their service weapon, and that is not what we want actually. But because they're physically so weak, they either you keep them in the office all day or for their entire careers, or you have a lot of victims on the street, I would say, because these women just can't do anything else. Either they do nothing or they pull the trigger. There is nothing in between they can do, quite literally. Okay, so that is one thing. And what do you do with these women then when you hire them? Well, I guess they browse through social media and they check out if somebody says something nasty. And that brings me already to my next point. The police, as well as our military also, but now the police is in the focus of public attention, they are really under a lot of scrutiny now. And as I said, these leftists in the media and also in the government, they don't like the cops. So, because think about it, why do some people join the police force? Of course, they want the money, they want a steady public office job probably, but it is not a very pleasant job in many cases. You have to, go on patrol. You are in danger, of course, wearing this uniform. You become a target in some areas of Germany, and so it cannot be just the steady income or the sure pensions as a public officer. There must be some idealism with many people who join the cops, and probably they like law and order and they want to protect the citizens of Germany. They think that this is a positive service, and they really help the Germans. They help protecting them and to enforce our laws and protect our constitution, blah, 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 blah. But these are not people who are on the left. These are people who are center-right normally. They are these law and order kind of people. These are the people who predominantly join the police force. And when they are confronted with this kind of stuff that goes on, right, Stuttgart, Frankfurt, they sometimes want to vent. Because of political correctness, they cannot openly say what happens to them on the street. The media corrects falsely about that, and the officers who were eyewitnesses, who were in the midst of things, are not allowed to talk about this. So what are they doing? Of course, the pressure has to go somewhere. They want to vent their anger, their frustration, and they join these private WhatsApp groups, these social media groups. And there, some of them might have said some nasty things. And again, I don't know. This is a big scandal now. Ooh, a right-wing network uncovered in the German police force. But the media doesn't really tell us what was going on there. So just that there was a whistleblower and the whole thing was uncovered, and there are investigations against some officers now in the state of Hesse, I think, or North Rhine-Westphalia, or somewhere there. I don't even know what state it was, it doesn't matter. But there are investigations now, and maybe they posted some frog memes, I don't know. Again, the media doesn't tell us what was actually said. Maybe I remember, for example, that the big scandal in Stuttgart was not that a lot of non-Germans, let's say, were taking apart the city and were looting and doing all sorts of criminal things. No, the problem was that over the service radio, one police officer was using a negative term for these people. It's the word starts with the letter K and is similar to the N word, not as bad as the N word, but it also is a thing that Germans are not allowed to say, but these people, they use it for to refer to themselves quite often, actually. So again, yeah, that was the big scandal, that a policeman said a bad word when he was almost beaten up or something, and like police cars were attacked and all that stuff. But you mustn't say a naughty word. That's the actual scandal here, right? And in the same way, the media is now all over this, and they say that we need a scientific study that yeah that finds out how deep or this right-wing problem goes in the police force. And I don't know. As I said, I don't know what was going on in this chat group, but could it maybe be that some people in the police force are not ideologically aligned with far left ideologues, and when they think that they're speaking among themselves or something like that, that they would use a couple of words that you don't hear in a leftist seminar on at the university in a liberal arts or something social studies department, maybe, yeah, and that shocks these people. But maybe there is a reason why the media doesn't let us know what was actually said, because maybe half of the population or more in Germany would just shrug their shoulders and think, what? This is maybe a little harsh language, but it's not a big deal, right? I don't know. I don't know. I would probably want to know what they actually said, but I don't know. And here you see, while the police is still the most popular employer, when you ask German students, there are these surveys done every year, and I think last year, once again, after several years in a row, being a police officer is still the most popular career dream, or popular career path that young people, students, maybe teenagers, envision for themselves. Yeah? Um, and that just goes into another problem, I would say, that the youth in Germany, they don't want to work in the free market or even become entrepreneurs themselves. They want to go into public service. Being a public servant, that is their dream. That is their life dream. Yeah, you might call it conservative now, but bear in mind, we are in Germany, yeah, not 1930s or 40s or 50s or 60s Germany, but in the 21st century. And that means public service, being a public servant. That has nothing to do with being conservative anymore, as you can even see in the police force, as I said. It is all far leftist ideology, and that is all you find there. And of course, Germany is a federal state, so it means not in every place in Germany, not in every state, not in every city is it equally bad. But the tendency is very clear. In these leftist hubs, in these leftist strongholds, it is progressed very far already. The Green Party, the leftists, they have just put their guys into key positions, and the police has been transformed now into into an instrument of their power. Basically, the German laws are no longer enforced. It's irrelevant what the German law says, because in question they can always decide, oh, on this one I would like to de-escalate, but on that one, oh yeah, that is bad, here we need to apply the law. Yeah? And this is what I say over and over again. Selective enforcement, selective enforcing of laws, of rules, that is what Germany has become all about. So the laws become irrelevant. There is no law. I mean, yes, we have books and it's written in there, but it's not practiced anymore. And I mean, this is a big scandal now in the police, right? But I'm sure that there are leftist groups among university staff or among teachers of high schools or something. And I'm sure they have these chat groups where they talk about nationalizing corporations and taking private property away from the citizens and all that stuff. And this is not in accordance with our constitution, for example. But I have never heard that anybody was fired or got into trouble or was put on trial or was jailed or whatever, or fined for saying these communist things like, oh, let's just take the stuff from the rich, or let's just like one higher up in the SPD, Kevin Kühnert, I think his name is, little Kevin, yeah, he said BMW should be nationalized. Sure, why not? Yeah, totally against our constitution, of course. Private property is guaranteed, of course, in Germany, but these people can just openly talk about that. So I don't even want to know what they write in private chat groups, and yeah, these are not really public statements then, but when some conservative police officers vent a little bit, that is a big scandal, and their careers are basically over now. But when these leftists say this outrageous stuff, or when teachers even say that in the classroom to indoctrinate children, I have never heard that anybody has gotten into trouble for that. And it might sound like a broken record here to call out this hypocrisy, but this is where we are. And it's not just that some people here and there get into trouble. As I said, I want to impress that on you, dear audience. The function of the German police has been changed. They're still called the police. Yeah? They're still the German law enforcement. But they're not enforcing German laws anymore. They're not. They are supporting leftists, and they're monitoring now. They're monitoring and spying on the German citizens. We are under surveillance by the police. They have become something, it's not really police anymore. It's almost like a domestic secret service agency. Yeah, because they really go through social media, internet, and they try to pin dirt on people and try to make arrests. Yeah, they have to hit some quotas, I guess. And this is what they're doing now. And this has nothing to do with enforcing German laws, because when really severe, very, very severe offenses are happening, some politician says, we want to de-escalate on that. And then the police just retreats and they go away, and they say, oh, please, or be reasonable, but we're going now. So we hope that you don't do anything stupid, but we're going now. Okay, see you next week. And then they're gone. And then the bad guys can do whatever they want. Home invasions, plunder entire cities, commit arson, what have you. The whole range of criminal activity. And the police just goes away, depending on who the perpetrators are. So depending on the state, it's not as far progressed in all regions, but don't expect German police to enforce the German law. I mean, the law has been changed, and it is not as great as it used to be, but not even as it stands written right now in our books. It is not enforced on the street. It's not enforced anywhere anymore. It depends on what the mayors, what the governors, what they say, and if they are leftists, well, there you go. Okay, I just wanted to, a little bit reporting on current issues, but also to let you know what generally is going on with the police. They're still very, very popular employer amongst young people, but I guess once they get there, some of them might be in the know. Some of them might actually know that it is a leftist operation now, but some of them who still think, maybe they're a little blue-pilled, they still think, oh, we're enforcing the law, we're protecting the citizens. They might be frustrated, and they might be surprised when they find out that this is not what the police is there to do anymore. This is not what they're paid for. All right, catch you guys again later. Servus, Kameraden.